All right, welcome. Forget everything you think you know about data. Today isn't about boring textbooks or abstract theory. Today is your first day on the job as a data detective. We're going to crack this case wide open. Let's get to it. Now, look at this. This is a promise. The whole point of this journey we're on is to get you completely 100% project ready in just 10 days. What you're about to learn isn't fluff. It's the real, practical stuff that people use every single day to do their jobs. So, let's make it official. This is your first day. Put on the detective hat. Your investigation, it starts right now. First things first, we have to get our heads in the right space. This is all about mindset. You're not learning to code to build some fancy new app. Nope. You're learning to code for one reason: to ask the data questions. It's all about curiosity, not complexity. So what are these questions? It all boils down just these four. Seriously, every complicated test, every long piece of code you'll ever write, it's all just trying to answer one of these four things. Get these, and you've got the heart of the entire job down.
Okay, so how do we actually answer those questions? We follow the evidence. See, data doesn't just appear out of nowhere. It goes on a journey, and our job is to be the detective that inspects it at every single stop. So let's walk that trail.
And the journey always starts here, at the source. Think of this like the original, untouched evidence at a crime scene. It's the raw data, straight from the live system. This is our ground truth. Everything, and I mean everything, gets compared back to this. Next up, the data moves to what we call staging. Now, what's so important about staging is that by design, absolutely nothing is supposed to happen here. It's just a holding area. We make an exact copy of the source with zero changes. Why? To prove nothing got lost on the way. It's a brilliant little step that saves us from massive headaches later. And finally, the grand finale, the target. This is the finished report, the final product. The data here has been cleaned up, calculated, and transformed based on all the client's rules. This is what the business uses to make huge decisions, and it's where our deepest investigation is going to happen.
So this leads us to the absolute first rule of data investigation. Before you do anything else, you check this one thing. Does the number of records in the source match the number of records in staging? If it doesn't, you've already found your first big clue. Data's gone missing.
Now, you're probably wondering how data gets from that raw state in the source to the polished version in the target. Well, it's all about business rules. Just think of these as the case brief, the specific instructions from your client that you have to prove were followed to the letter. For our little insurance case here, the rules are pretty simple. Check it out. The client says anytime you see M, it has to become male. The final premium, that has to be the base amount plus the tax. And a policy is expired if its end date has already passed. See, these aren't technical things, they're business instructions. And this right here is a super important distinction. As the data detective, you don't actually build anything. You're not writing the code that changes M to male. Your job is to be the impartial inspector who comes in after the fact and proves with cold, hard data that the rule was applied correctly for every single record.
Okay, theory time is over. We've got the mindset, we know the evidence trail, and we have our case brief. It's time to open up the toolkit. Let's see how we can use a little bit of SQL as our digital magnifying glass to find the clues hiding in the data. So, let's start with that first big question. We've got our source, we've got our staging tables. How do we prove without a shadow of a doubt that every piece of evidence made it from point A to point B? It's this simple. It's almost funny how simple it is. You run one command to count everything in the source and another to count everything in staging. If those two numbers are not identical, you stop. You just found your first bug. It's the simplest test you'll ever run, and honestly, one of the most powerful.
All right, level 1 complete. We know all the data got there. But did it get transformed correctly? Let's take that premium calculation rule. How do we prove it was followed correctly for, say, 1 million policies all at once? So before we even peek at the code, let's just think it through. It's just logic, right? First, we need to gather all the evidence for a single policy. Then, we look at the final premium amount in the finished report, and we compare it to what it should be, the base amount plus the tax from our original evidence. If they don't match up, bam, we found a clue. And this is the SQL that does exactly what we just described. Now, don't get intimidated by the syntax. All it's doing is joining our evidence tables together.
And the real magic is right here in this where clause at the end. It's asking a really simple question. Hey, computer, show me any policy where the final premium is not equal to the base plus tax. If this query shows you even one single row, you found a defect. And that matters, because a 1 cent mistake here over a million policies, that's a huge financial error.
And that's it. Let's pause the investigation right there and debrief. In just the last few minutes, you have picked up the fundamental skills of a real data detective. Let's just quickly recap what's in your new toolkit.
You now get the flow of data, evidence, from source to staging to target. You know why that staging step is so critical. You see how a simple request from a client becomes a concrete test you can run. And best of all, you've seen with your own eyes how a couple of simple lines of code can uncover massive problems. You literally just performed real ETL testing.
So, hey, congratulations. You have officially completed your first day of training. This wasn't just talk. You did the work. You are absolutely on the right path to becoming project ready. But let me leave you with a final thought to chew on. We learned how to check counts. We learned how to check one calculation. But what if I told you there's a single, incredibly powerful query, a kind of secret weapon, that can compare two entire sets of data at once and instantly tell you every single record that went missing or was changed incorrectly all in one go? Well, we'll uncover that on day 2.